Welcome to New Era School Notes for Studies.
Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really critical moment for the nation of Malawi, a moment where its entire future is basically being decided by its youngest generation. So, what exactly does that mean? Let's get into it. All right, let's start with just one number. But wow, what a number! 46%. That's the percentage of Malawi's entire population that is under the age of 15. Just let that sink in for a second. Almost half the country. That's not just a statistic, that's the whole story right there. So you can see how this puts the country at a massive fork in the road, right? On one hand, this youth boom could be the rocket fuel for an economic miracle. But on the other, it could be the spark for total social and economic chaos. The choices they make right now will decide which path they go down. Okay, so let's dig into our first section, Malawi's youth ticking clock. The median age in Malawi is just 18.1. I mean, that is incredibly young, making it one of the youngest countries on the entire planet. And what that means is, over the next couple of decades, millions and millions of these young people are going to be hitting the workforce. Ready or not? So that brings us to the big question in Section 2, a dividend or a disaster? All right, so let's define what we're talking about when we say demographic dividend. Think of it like this. It's this special limited time window where a country has more working age people than it has dependents, kids and the elderly. This frees up a ton of resources that can be poured back into the economy to just skyrocket growth. But, and this is a huge but, it only works if that big workforce is actually skilled and has jobs. And when you look around the world, you can see two very, very different stories. You've got the East Asian tigers, right? They grabbed this exact opportunity by the horns and achieved just unbelievable growth. But then, you have the cautionary tales, places where these huge youth populations have really struggled with high unemployment. All that potential just kind of squandered. So how did a country like South Korea pull it off? I mean, they went from being a very poor country to a global powerhouse. Well, the absolute cornerstone of their strategy was a massive, nonstop investment in education. And specifically, and this is key for Malawi, they focused on getting their secondary school students ready for the demands of the global economy. And that brings us right back to Malawi, Section 3, the secondary school crisis. Because this, right here, is the single biggest roadblock in its path. This chart really paints the picture, doesn't it? On one side, you have this enormous, massive pool of young, energetic people. So much potential. But then you look at the other bar, and you see this huge gap between all that potential and the number of students who are actually finishing a quality secondary education, an education that truly sets them up for the future. And what this creates is a fundamental mismatch. A disconnect. The modern Malawian economy is crying out for people with digital skills, who can think critically, who are fluent in English. But what is the school system producing? Graduates with a lot of theoretical knowledge, sure, but with really poor preparation for what a modern workplace actually looks like. It's not just about getting kids to show up to school. It's about what happens when they're in the classroom. The curriculum is just out of sync with what's needed today. There's not nearly enough focus on problem solving or using technology. English instruction is often weak, and for students who want to learn a trade, who want to do something hands-on, there are very, very few options. So what's the fix? That brings us to Section 4, a roadmap for transformation. The plan here is broken down into 3 clear phases. It all kicks off with immediate, urgent action on education. Then you move on to getting that newly skilled workforce into the economy. And finally, the goal is to build towards innovation and higher value industries. But let's really zero in on that first phase, because honestly, it is the most critical part. Everything else, literally everything else, depends on getting this part right. The first 3 years are all about a full-scale, emergency overhaul of Malawi's entire secondary education system. This overhaul is built on 4 main pillars, and they're designed to completely change what a high school diploma in Malawi actually means. We're talking about a universal digital literacy campaign, so everyone gets tech skills, an intense focus on English fluency, a revitalization of science, tech, engineering, and math, STEM, and a huge expansion of practical, technical education that leads people straight into a good job. And this is so important. None of this works if you leave half the population behind. There's no way this plan succeeds if it doesn't unleash the full potential of all of Malawi's youth. That means systematically tearing down the barriers that stop girls from finishing secondary school and making sure they have clear paths into great careers in tech, in business, you name it. And that brings us to our final and maybe most urgent point in Section 5. The window is closing. Because this incredible opportunity, well, it won't be around forever. Based on all the projections, Malawi has a window of about 20, maybe 25 years to get this right. After that, its population starts to get older, and this unique chance for explosive growth, it just starts to fade away forever. The cost of doing nothing or moving too slowly is just immense. Every single year of delay means a whole new group of young people hits the workforce totally unprepared. And a piece of that amazing potential dividend is just lost for good. So the choice really couldn't be more dramatic. It's a stark decision. Invest everything you can in your young people right now, or get ready to face the consequences of a demographic disaster. And ultimately, this is the key takeaway. A demographic dividend is not a gift. It's not something that just happens to you. It has to be earned. It's earned through bold choices, through serious investment, and through real political will. And that leaves us with the big question, the one that will define the future of an entire nation. Will Malawi earn it?
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and follow. We are also on Facebook and TikTok. Just scan the QR. This is Victoria signing out. Peace.